The stream has been started, Lewis. Stop all your complaining. That's better. You look totally normal now.
Lewis Wallace reporting for duty.
That super happy smiling face is what the Cultimac writers dread, huh? When they see that, they know they're really in for it.
That's the big warning signal.
He's lost it. He's really going to flog me this time.
He never smiles. What's going on?
Run! Save yourself. But they can't. They're in the cage. All right. Boom! And we're live.
Oh, heavens.
Heaven help us. Hey, y'all. Dang, this guy's name is Torquil Duar. Torquil. Sounds like a Doom character. Torquil. It sounds like a like the heavy-duty version of NyQuil when NyQuil is just not working for you. Or it's like the ED version of NyQuil when you gotta get fully torqued. Torquil. Oh my gosh, what happened to you? I drank too much Torquil. Hey, Zach. Shout out to Ulysses. Shout out to Chase McLean. Oh, man, my name is Arafon, so don't worry about it, guys.
Thanks for clearing that up.
And Leander, yeah.
And Leander Kahaney. All right, Lewis, are you ready for this tweet? Are you ready for the most
I'm never ready for this tweet because
perfect, short, encapsulated tweet that I've probably ever released? Here it comes. Ready? Everyone's going to be watching the show after this tweet. Shout out to everyone. Oh, man, I got the giggles. I just want to...
That's a good sign.
I just want to giggle, man. And doesn't it just feel good to have some giggles, Lewis? I feel we all need a good gig every once in a while.
A gigabyte of giggles.
I know who likes to have a good gig is Leander Kahaney over there. Leander loves the giggle.
Wow.
That's right.
So you didn't even mention the AirTags there in your tweet. So I don't know if it is the perfect tweet.
Oh, how dare you accuse me of not having a perfect tweet? Where's the shirt bulge?
At the very least, it's incomplete.
You get the heck out of here, Gavin Miller. I'll give you a bulge. Oh, Torquil's from he's from Texas, but he says Edinburgh originally. Isn't that where you're from, Leander?
Edinburgh? Where the hell is that? You mean Edinburgh?
Yeah.
Scotland.
It's Scotland. My apologies. My
Edinburgh.
apologies. How's everyone doing in the chat? So we got the ruthless Zach Hicks in there. If anyone gets out of hand, if anyone says anything uncouth, Zach he's gonna grab you by your shirt collar, slap you around like that, and throw you out jazz style, like you were Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay, so you guys better keep yourselves in order in there. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. How come every time we go live, both of you guys completely go silent mode? We're having this great chat. As soon as we go live,
twittering away. I thought I'm waiting for you to get started.
We are started. We're live. People are waiting to be entertained.
To retweet something.
Oh wow. B Gaines has been watching since day one. Wow. Leander, you want me to blow your mind? I think that we're in our 9th year right now. I think February 24th we hit 9 years.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Don't tell me it's depressing stuff like that.
But think how much life our listeners have been through with us so far. You know,
True.
I mean, people were some of the people were in middle school when they started, and now they're high-powered executives at fast food chains. Actually, I know a woman who is a executive at a fast food chain. You would not believe how much money she makes. She's like one of my richest. She's not really a friend. She's an acquaintance. She's like one of the richest people I know. She makes a ton of money. And if I told you the fast food chain, you would know which one it was.
What's her job?
What is it?
selling fast food to people. I don't know what she
I know,
does.
but she doesn't manage it. I mean, she's like one of the executives. Yeah.
Yeah, she's an executive inside one of the more well-known American fast food chains. What do you do at a fast food company? I don't know. Figure out how to make your food more addictive.
Got to come up with punchy slogans.
Punchy slogans or
Every
second
3
priority.
to 6 months, you got to come up with a new product to put out there and see if
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah, you got to have cool, quippy tweets about your products. I don't know what they
This
do.
is a chicken sandwich that's fried
Yeah.
with
Although-
bacon.
It's very not.
Unbelievable.
That's very not.
How did they come up with it?
Lewis, you could have had another life in the marketing department at some company. I'm telling you. You're too good. Your enthusiasm is contagious. Now I want a fried chicken sandwich with bacon.
Yeah, me too.
You know who's got great chicken? And I eat there every chance I get. I'm actually happy they don't have any chains around me because their chicken strips are like the best. I love chicken strips. Red Robin is a local burger place in Washington, and they have great chicken strips, but I'd say even better than them is the national chain, Popeyes.
I knew
guys-
you were going to say
Oh,
Popeyes.
man. Popeyes chicken strips are so good.
You must have stock in Popeyes.
I should
gotta
get
know-
stock in Popeyes. I should sell my Apple stock and get it Popeyes because it's probably going to do better than my Apple stock has.
What's Apple doing today?
Oh, don't even ask me. I'm ready to bail out, man. Apple stock has been going sideways. It's funny. I was just
You
reading
shouldn't be
this.
looking at it. You're a long-term investor. Long-term, it's gonna be fine.
Oh, I hope you're right. It's been going sideways for 6 months. It's literally been going sideways for 6 months.
Well, they just had the biggest, third biggest quarter ever.
I know,
Everything's
and,
up.
and
With
yet
the
their
no
freaking
Dogecoin.
stock has done nothing. My
Right.
I've made more returns on my Doge in the 3 months that I've owned it than I have in the Apple stock I bought all year long.
So you bought Doge 3 months ago? I just bought some Doge at the weekend with the kids.
No, it wasn't 3 months ago. It was less than that, actually. I think it was a month ago, and I've already doubled my money.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I think Doge, at some point, Doge is going to take over American currency, and we're all just going to be using Doge.
Well, I mean, are you gonna? I've got some Doge, and and me and the kids were sort of, discussing the strategy for this weekend because
Yeah.
SNL. Is it gonna crash before SNL?
Oh, is that
Or
because
it gonna
Elon
pop
Musk is going on?
afterwards?
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
Elon
it is.
Musk is on SNL.
Oh, man, it is dropping like crazy. But, I'm telling you, if I had some spare change, I'd be buying Doge right this very moment.
Is it dropping now?
Yeah, it's at 56 cents, which is a great price considering that it just pumped up big time. And I think Doge is going to $1 and beyond. That's just my personal opinion. Now you
Well,
all
that's
can
what
do
they're
whatever you
saying,
want.
Yeah.
I think Doge is going to keep going after one. It's just going to keep going. Here, and the only reason I think this is people always say, well, yeah, it's not as technically good as like Cardano or something. Yeah, but people don't care about that. Look at Apple. Apple is going sideways after having two of the most renowned fiscal quarters ever in any company's history. They're going sideways, and a crypto based on a dog meme is going bonkers. I think now Doge is the third most popular crypto, or the third
Yeah.
most capitalized crypto available. And what can you do with Bitcoin? Nothing. The only reason people buy Bitcoin is because it's a well-known crypto, and it was the first. I think it was one of the first, or it was the first. and now Doge is well-known, and it has hype, and I think those two things alone are going to drive it up higher. What price did you get in on, Lander? What price did you buy Doge at? It was like 60 cents?
I don't know. No, I don't know. It was 40 or something.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm just looking at my thing now. How do I tell?
Well, I don't know. What app are you using?
Robin Hood.
Here, send me your Doge and I'll tell you. Just sign it to me. My friend bought in at 1 cent.
Yeah, right. How much did you get?
He bought $1,000 worth.
Oh my
Oh, wow. So that must be worth a lot of money now.
Well, every 10 cents it goes up, he makes $1,000.
Crikey.
Yeah.
Every
And-
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
someone was saying like if you got in early on Doge, it's worth millions now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
$1,000 worth. If when it first launched, like $1,000 worth of Doge is like $1 million now or something?
I don't know if it's that high, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway,
I heard a story last night about a guy who bought like $1,000 to $1,300, and he's just worth like $660,000.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm sure I heard that last night before I fell asleep. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. I had a dream last night that was centered around missed opportunities.
Yeah. Well, you
There's a
haven't
lot
missed
of
the train on
weeping
Doge.
in this dream.
I mean, people think that Doge is really high, and it is high. But just think if it goes to $1 or $5 or something, then you're gonna
Or
be
1
like,
cent.
I got in at 50 cents or whatever. You're still prime. Now, like, listen, I'm invested, so I'm trying to pump. So I'm gonna try and talk everyone into buying. I'm dumping all my Apple stock and putting it into Doge. So, can you actually mine Doge? Yeah, I believe that you can. I believe that you can. It's a crypto, so yeah, I believe that you can.
Huh.
Oh man, I wish
I
I
can't
bought
see how
sooner.
much I bought it at. I can't figure out this interface at all.
If you go into, so if you're in the Robinhood app, and we'll start here in a second here, guys. Oh man, I wish I had some money to put in Doge right now. That's a great price. That is a great price. So if you go into the little person at the bottom, you can
God.
go into investing, and it will tell you. Actually, I don't know if it tells you there. Never mind. We can troubleshoot this later. Let's let's get going with the show. We've
What are you
lost like
talking about? It's not there at all.
we've lost
Oh
like
my
half our
God.
audience. I know. I thought that was it, and then I realized it wasn't. So let's bail out of this this technical help live. Let me pull up the other D that I love. Mrs. D. Mrs. D. Oh, I love Doge. Oh, Mrs. D, are you in on Doge too? You know that I am. You're gonna be a wealthy lady, Mrs. D. You always get in on the investments at just the right time. Oh yes. That's all I got. Okay, let's let's get,
Oh, yes.
Oh no!
this bit is fading fast. All right, guys, let me go ahead and cue the music here for Mrs. D so that she can get back to her Doge mining. She's a big Doge miner, Mrs. D. Oh, all day long, I have my pickaxe right here. Mrs. D, I don't think that's how that works. Don't you tell me how to mine Doge. She's getting feisty. All right, let's go ahead and cue the music, and let's see if we can get this thing rolling. The wheels fell off about 20 minutes ago. It's going to be hard to push it uphill without the wheels. We'll try our best. Here we go. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute of conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airphone Elijah. Joining me today, he asked his wife why she keeps putting his AirTag in lost mode. She said she hoped he'd take the hit and get lost. He's the founder of Cultimac. That was mean. That was mean and not
That
true
was
at all.
really kind of mean, yeah.
Speaking of AirTags, he's attached one to the shock collars of each Cultimac rider, so if they do get out of the cage, they won't get far. He's the managing editor of Cultimac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Well worth the investment.
Yeah, you can get 4 of them for $100 and keep those
Yeah.
Cultimac riders in the pen, pecking away at the keyboard. That was mean, Leander. I retract everything that I just said. She has the AirTag on you, and she keeps it in lost mode because she loves you, and she wants to know where you are, so you don't get
She
lost.
tracked
when
me
you-
with my phone.
Yeah.
I had to turn that off because it was becoming a little bit intrusive. What are you doing over there? You know, what?
Oh, she would ask you like questions accusingly
I gotta get
about.
lunch with my brother or something like that, and she's like, "Who are you with? You know, why are you at that place?" So yeah, it was becoming a little bit intrusive.
Find My is one of the hidden gems of the Apple ecosystem that people often don't use. And if you have people that allow you to use their location, it is so useful. I say this all the time, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but I put geofences around my wife all the time. So when she's somewhere and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that chore you asked me to do before you get home. And then I procrastinate and I put a geofence around her so that as soon as she leaves the area, I know that I got to rush and do that thing before she gets home. Saved me 100 times. Like I'll forget about it and a notification will go off and I'm like,
Oh,
I got to
really?
stop
Yeah. Is that
Westworld
ready for
and
the
do the
example?
dishes. What's that?
So is it ready for chores?
How dare
Is
you?
it?
And other things. All right, let's see here. Let me run through the docket here. We got all sorts of stuff to talk about. Oh boy, we got to talk about the folding iPhone that's coming up. We got some new information on that. Let's see here. Oh man, we have a new development or a new report on Apple Watch. If this comes to fruition, Apple Watch will really be transformed into one of the most, if not the most important gadget that Apple makes. So we'll tell you what we know so far. We'll tell you the honest truth about AirTags. Some people love the AirTags, and there are some honest criticisms. And we'll tell you the good and the bad. So stay tuned for that. And let's see here. If you stay tuned, we'll do a quick update on the Epic Games v Apple trial. This is probably the most interesting thing that I've seen come out of all the testimonies. So if you're not following the story at all, Epic, the trial is going on right now, and executives from Epic are testifying, executives from Microsoft are testifying, from Apple are testifying. Like, this is probably the most important tech litigation that we've seen. I don't know if there is another more important tech litigation story of the last 20 years than this one, and it could drastically alter the way the app stores are all run, which is why it's so important. And there's been a lot of interesting tidbits that have come out of this. So before we start here on this 8-inch folding iPhone story, let me just give a quick and hearty thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Squarespace has everything you need to grow online, simple tools for your big ideas. Start your free website trial today. No credit card required. Squarespace.com/CultCast. You can churn your ideas into reality. Y'all know that I use Squarespace. I have 2 Squarespace sites that I pay for because they're so excellent. They're so easy to manage and build. You can build virtually any type of website you want. You can have a portfolio showcasing your work. You can build a blog or an online store. And one of the things I always tell people is, even if you don't think you need a website, let's say you're a student or something, you can build a really simple, beautiful, impactful one-page website to highlight your personal resume or some skill set that you have. It will take you 15 minutes to build, and yet it looks very striking. You can have a big website with a large picture in the background or a moving video or something. You can have a website for your event or wedding, your small business. Of course, if you have a business, you absolutely need a website. All this is included and more, so much more built in. They're constantly updating Squarespace with new features, and they make it so easy to build and to use and maintain, which is the easiest part or the best part. Head on over to squarespace.com/CultCast, get signed up for your free trial. And if you like what you have after the 2-week trial, you can use code CultCast at checkout to save 10% off your first purchase at squarespace.com/CultCast, and use the offer code CultCast at checkout to get that 10% off your first purchase. Alrighty, who's first on the docket? I think we got medium-sized Lewis Wallace here to tell us about the 8-inch folding iPhone. Take it away, Medium Lou.
Yeah, the 8-inch folding iPhone might land as early as 2023. This is from our favorite analyst, Ming-Chi Kuo. He says a folding iPhone is 2 years away, and that when open, this thing's going to have an 8-inch screen, significantly bigger than the current largest iOS model, which is, as you all know, a 6.7-inch display. Higher screen resolution, at least 1,800 by 3,200 pixels. He didn't unleash any predictions about exactly what the design's going to look like. We've heard from John Prosser in the past that might be a flip phone, kind of like a classic Razr, with a tall screen.
I like that
Seems
design.
kind of weird to me, actually.
I kind of like that design, but yeah, it's very long.
Yeah. Also in his report, excuse me. Wow, I think I'll be all right.
Jeez, my ears are ringing.
Yeah, it's terrible. Kuo predicts foldable screens are the future of smartphones. He said, our latest survey indicates that the fast-growing foldable smartphone market has become a must-have for all major smartphone brands. And he also says, that's basically just the beginning. We believe that the foldable smartphone is only one of the applications of foldable design. We predict that foldable devices will blur the product segmentations between smartphones, tablets, and laptops in the future. Which that starts to sound kind of interesting. And he's talking about things with multiple folds, like, who knows? It's almost like origami tablet.
Yeah.
Right?
That might be what they call it, the origami. The irogami. I'm kind of excited about this. I like that folding design. I like having something that's compact that you can keep in your pocket, and then you could open up and have a much larger screen. I think it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, it could be good. If it's, I think it just kind of depends on how small it is when it's folded up, right? I mean, if it becomes like the size of an iPhone mini, and then you open it up in the size of an iPad, wow, awesome. If it's like a brick that's in your pocket,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
that's the thing, right? Like the ones that I've seen from Samsung are way too thick. When you fold them over,
Yeah.
the part of the screen that's folded has like that folded bulge, right? Because they can't fold totally flat, and so the phone is kind of thick. They got to figure out a way to make it super slim. What they'll probably do, I'm guessing, is have a hinge and then have two of the screens on a hinge that open and close, like the was it like
Well,
the
he's talking-
Microsoft Neo?
Paul's talking about rollable ones. So, it'll be like a scroll in the olden days, the town crier. Oh yeah, you'll fold it out. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Hear ye,
It
I
rolls up
shall
into a
read to thee
tube.
from my Twitter account. That'd be kind of funny.
He mentioned something. TPK's silver nanowire touch technology. He said that would be Apple's choice for these devices. And I don't know anything about that, and I just read it a minute before we started this, so
Oh, cool.
I don't know what that is. But I'm definitely intrigued by all these sort of bizarre new technologies they're coming up with, and things that I always hear people say folding glass. I'm like, what does that mean? But it means something. I don't know how it works. I can't wait to see this stuff in action.
Zach Hicks from the chat says, I don't want a phone that folds into a tablet. I want a normal size phone that folds down smaller. Now, that is interesting. So
Mini that folds into a nano.
there you
Right.
go.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good idea. That's a great application.
Yeah. Why has no one said that before?
Well, I think
Very
they did. That
interesting.
was the idea behind that razor style, the clamshell one.
Yeah.
Like it's because it'll be a small, almost square device that you could easily fit into your pocket. But then when you open it up, it opens up into like a full size iPhone.
Yeah. That's interesting. I have the Razor pulled up right now. Yeah, that's kind of what I want too. Although I wouldn't mind it being larger. That would be a very tall display though, which might be kind of goofy.
Well,
And-
imagine your current iPhone. You could fold it in half. That's kind of what it might be like.
yeah, folding it in half long ways. That would make it a lot smaller if it fit in your pocket, which means that they can make it, bigger and then when you fold it. But again, it would have to be super slim, right? So it couldn't be this thick and then you fold it over on itself and it's like a trifold wallet that's like an inch thick in your pocket. It would have to be a lot
Yeah.
slimmer than that. Why are you giggling over there, Lewis?
No, I'm just thinking the same exact thing. Like, who needs another wallet that's 18 credit cards thick?
Oh, dude. So I switched this forever ago. I switched to basically just like a card holder wallet. So this is my wallet right here, and you can see it's not super thick, and it's just
Still
got
pretty
all my cards
chunky.
in there. Yeah, well, I got a lot of cards
How
in
many
here.
cards you got?
I don't know, 30. a lot of
Are those all
cards.
credit cards? Or is
No,
that like
no,
your
no. It's like, well,
is your
there's a lot of
Blockbuster
credit cards
card
in here,
there?
but there's credit cards, my license, my library card, my
Costco.
IKEA card, my Costco card. I got
Well,
a
why
wish
don't
all
you
that
have
stuff would just go to Apple Wallet. Every
business
single
card
bit
in
of it.
here. Some of my cards aren't compatible with Apple Wallet. I don't know
I know.
why.
Me too.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's annoying.
But dude, going from a regular wallet to this was one of the best decisions I ever made. I just keep this in my front pocket, and I don't have some big giant trifold wallet. And you can see when I take my cards out of this thing, it just folds down into this like this tiny piece of leather. That's all it is. And so this itself adds almost no bulk, maybe like an eighth of an inch to the actual thickness.
Eighth of an inch?
Yeah, maybe.
That's a lot.
You think so?
Ipsh.
Eighth of an inch.
Seems to me, yeah.
Leader carries his credit cards in a plastic baggie.
I was gonna say no. I got the same thing. I
Ziploc.
got a. Mine's looking kind of chunky.
Yours
actually,
looks
now that
way chunkier than mine.
Mine's pathetic. Look at
you-
that.
Well,
see
I've got
now
my ID.
Yeah.
I've got a key card. I got like
Embarrassing.
7 credit cards.
7 different insurance
hold on.
forms.
My sandwich card. That's the most important thing.
My sandwich punch card.
The Gus's sandwich card. Oh, Gus is how I miss you.
Critical to have that in there. Yeah,
That's
Lewis,
the
you
most
got
important
you got a pretty chunky one in there.
Yeah,
You sit on
it's
that?
Ridiculous. Gives you scoliosis. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's terrible.
I hope you got a good
Not good.
chiropractor.
Nope,
No, nothing.
none of it.
Oh man,
Nothing.
you need a new chiropractor to work those wallet bun knots out from keeping that wallet back there. Those bun knots are going to be out of control.
It's not good. Where are you going to put your AirTag in that wallet there?
Well, I'll have to drill a hole and then attach it that way. Or if people stay tuned, we'll tell you exactly how to make a custom AirTag holder
Oh,
for any device that you have. Lewis has got a story here that you're really going to enjoy if you're looking for a way to attach your AirTag to, I don't know, your bicycle or your wallet or one of your riders in some kind of non-obtrusive way without having to put it into one other orifice or something, you know. Let's move on. Let's talk about the updates potentially coming to Apple Watch, Leander, because
this is an exciting story.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I thought this was one of the most exciting stories I read all week.
Me too.
So there's a new sensor that could turn the 2022 Apple Watch into a doctor on your wrist. So it's a deal between Apple and Rockley Photonics. It could add a new medical sensors to the Apple Watch in 2022. That might include non-invasive monitoring of blood sugar levels, body temperature, and blood pressure, amongst other stuff. It might even add the ability to measure blood alcohol. Could you imagine that? Blood alcohol.
Booze watch.
Time for another drink, Leander. Time for another
Ding, ding, ding. Are you sure you want to have another drink?
No, Leander's is going to be programmed the other way.
Sensor.
Yeah, mine's going to be the other way.
It's going to be like the
Drop it
stand-up
low.
sensor, you know, where it's like your blood alcohol level is getting too low.
Right, dangerously low, like speed. Top it up. So yeah, the British startup promises to bring laboratory diagnostics to the wrist. They're talking about putting a lab-based spectrometer into this new sensor, so it can do a whole bunch of stuff. They're already working with Apple, even though the companies haven't announced this publicly. Rock is about to have its IPO, and in documentation filed with the SEC, it mentions that Apple Inc. is Rockley's largest customer. So they're already working together. And Rockley makes sensors that can use light to examine someone's blood. They're tiny enough to build into an Apple Watch. And then, quote, our module compresses the sensing capabilities of a desktop clinical spectrometer into a wearable chip that can be carried on your wrist, said the CEO. Quote, this enables continuous monitoring of numerous biomarkers, some of which are life critical, such as hydration, blood pressure, core body temperature, lactate, and glucose levels for the first time ever. So Rickman also mentioned testing for alcohol and carbon monoxide. So it seems like this thing does a whole bunch of stuff. I hadn't heard the lactate one before, but glucose levels, blood glucose monitoring, that would be huge if they could get that to work and work accurately. Blood pressure, that sounds crazy. It can measure your blood pressure?
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of a watch being able to do that without some kind of inflatable strap.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know, for the diastolic and whatever, you know.
Systolic?
Listen to the heartbeat.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell.
And the
Yeah, that sounds great. This thing sounds absolutely bonkers, this thing. I mean, you know, blood glucose, blood alcohol, lactate. It sounds really, 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 really incredible.
I mean, just having one of these things would make it a device that most people would want to have. If it just did blood sugar, if it just did blood pressure. But having all of those things all in one device, especially if it can do your blood alcohol level as well, and so you would know where you stood, if you should drive or not or something.
Right.
This would make the Apple Watch one of the most important pieces of technology that exists, in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Well, when we put this into the you know, when we put the story into the newsletter, you know, I looked up, I went back and looked for Tim Quocook, and he was saying that, you know, when you look back in history and what Apple's contribution is going to be, it's going to be the most important areas in health and wellness. And, you know, I think he's talking about stuff he's seeing in the labs, and he's absolutely right. This stuff is incredible. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, especially
if it comes true.
If it comes true, that's a thing. But it is telling, and it is very interesting that in the IPO for Rockley, they said, quote, Apple Inc., Rockley's largest customer. So clearly, Apple is buying a lot of something from Rockley. What is that thing? We don't know. I mean, that's the mystery. That's the mystique. Hence the eyebrow bouncing, the exuberant eyebrow bouncing. So we don't know what they're doing, but clearly Apple is buying something from Rockley. The question is, when is it going to make it into the iPhone or into the Apple Watch? And I think next generation would be a good time to add something like this. If you think about the evolution of Apple Watch Series 5 was when they added the always on display, so that was a major thing. And then Series 6, what did they add? I don't even remember. It was
oxygen.
Oh, that's right.
Oxygen sensor,
The
which I've used like once, right?
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember.
Altimeter? Wasn't the altimeter in that one as well?
I was going to say maybe altimeter. So it seems like it is time for Apple to really add something big to the Apple Watch. And we know they've been working on something like this for a long time. So it could be
Yeah, but
next gen.
well, what it's but that is one thing that made I was curious about with this report. It says 2022, and I couldn't figure out exactly why they picked 2022 out for that thing. I mean, why not 2021? I mean, we've heard rumors of a blood sugar sensor for years now. Did you see anything about that, Leander? About exactly
I
why they
didn't.
said
That's a good
2022
question.
instead of 21?
Yeah, good question. I guess it's not quite ready for prime time. This one seems to be much more. This sensor seems to be more expansive. Like it can do. It looks like it can do more things. Because the previous rumor was that Apple was looking at blood glucose sugar, right? Adding that to it, and instead of so it's like adding that as a feature rather than swapping out the whole sensor. That could do a whole bunch of different things like this. So maybe that's what this is referring to. Like it's a whole new sensor that would supplant the current one, and that they're getting it ready now. And the lead times on these things are they can't just put it in a couple of weeks. It's probably like a year or more to do it.
I mean, just getting approval.
Yeah, right. Well, there's all that. That's a whole nother ball.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and guess that whatever technology they're adding in, it will have the big caveat that this technology should not be used to actually monitor for your health reasons. This is only for entertainment purposes only, right? It's going to be the fine print, because if you look at what they did with the oximeter, they did the exact same thing. It's basically, this gives you a general idea of where your blood oxygen level is, but it's not some hospital level grade device. And actually, if this technology was so accurate and so good, wouldn't you see it in hospitals? And yet, diabetics, if they want to keep really hyper accurate track of their blood sugar, they have to have something installed in like their arm that constantly monitors it and sends it to like their phone or something. So it seems like most reliable technology is still using some kind of probe in your skin to actually contact your blood and monitor it that way. So are we all of a sudden going to jump to being able to monitor this kind of thing in some optical fashion with a sensor being put into an iPhone? It's like, I don't think so. And when you go to the hospital, they always, or when you go to the doctor, they always put the cuff on your arm to measure your blood pressure. Like if this technology was so ubiquitous, wouldn't they be using the same kind of technology in the doctor scene or like the hospital scene? Well, I don't know. It seems like this technology clearly is not going to be that reliable or that accurate to actually make it medical grade. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, they're developing it. It's not out yet, is it? So
2023 though. It's just right around the corner.
I mean, they were saying the same sort of thing about Apple's the heart rate stuff. I mean, you remember when there was a big debate when the Apple Watch first came out because the sensor was on the top of your wrist rather than the bottom where the veins are. So there was all like, how accurate is the heartbeat sensor going to be? And it actually has turned out to be really, really pretty accurate, right?
Yeah.
Hasn't all the stuff they've released so far been pretty accurate? And then I've heard stories as well about, people using these in hospitals settings we did a story, didn't we, Liz? You remember that? Someone went to the doctor's office and they were getting their blood oxygen measured, and they wanted to compare the Apple Watch to the actual machine in the clinic, and it was almost exactly the same. Was it the blood oxygen or something else? Do you remember that story?
Yeah, I think I can't remember exactly which one. I mean, I've heard all kinds of things about all these things, and some people are like, oh well, it doesn't match when I use a pulse oximeter, but it all depends on how tight it is on your wrist and things like that. I mean, there's so many ways that you can do it
Variables,
wrong.
Yeah.
Well, from the chat, we have Christopher Gavin saying wellness only. That's exactly right, not medical. And then we got Zach Hicks coming through with the banger. He says screening and diagnostic are very different in terms of accuracy. Bing, bing, bing. That's it. It's going to be a general, here's kind of where you're at. But if you want something really accurate, you should probably go to the hospital or go to your doctor or something.
Yeah.
But still,
you might want to check this.
Regardless, it still would be incredible to have any kind of sensor that could tell your blood sugar, your blood pressure, anything that even if it just got you close, right? You're talking 95% of the way there and not 100%. That would be a game-changing device that would change very many people's lives, especially considering a lot of people don't find out they have a problem until it gets bad. But if you knew ahead of time that you had a problem, all of a sudden you could prevent it, you could change your lifestyle before things really affected you, right? So that would be an amazing feature. I really hope that we see something like this in 2023. And maybe, just maybe, it make the stock price go up a little bit, Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Make you use a little bump. That's all I'm
Better
saying.
Better hold.
I can't sell, dude. I can't sell. I sometimes I think about it, but Warren Buffett was just he just released a what was he in an interview? He said that Tim Cook is one of the best business managers of all time. Wow. And I think his business partners said, because they were asked why they sold some of their Apple stock recently, and I believe they said it was an oversight, like it was a mistake, and they shouldn't have sold it. Yeah.
Oh, I accidentally sold $6 billion worth of Apple stock.
I don't think it was an accident that we sold it. Like, whoops! It was an
oops.
accident. Like we shouldn't have done it.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like we should have held on to
a whole bunch of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the things he had to say about Tim Cook were pretty striking. He really likes Tim Cook. He thinks he's one of the best managers in any company today, like one of the best managers of all time.
Well, it is a fairly successful company.
Yeah, well, I wish stockholders would realize that. But one of the things I did find really interesting is he's talking about Tim Cook and how incredible he is, and how his skill set is so different from Steve Jobs, and how Steve Jobs couldn't have accomplished what Tim Cook accomplished, which I think is definitely true. But in the same regard, Apple is missing. I feel like Apple is still missing the creative mastermind that Steve Jobs was. So Tim Cook has taken over from a managerial perspective, but he seems like he outsources the creative decisions to people he thinks are most qualified. And it is creation by tribunal now. It seems like it's very democratic, and they vote on things that they think might work, instead of having Steve Jobs be their North Star and say, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're not doing that, that sucks, you're fired. And it seems like they're still missing that person to direct the ship. Tim Cook's really good at sailing the ship, but they still need someone who's going to point it in the right direction, in my humble opinion. What do you think about that?
That sounds like, I think this discussion is kind of like, people say the same thing, but look at the Apple Watch. I mean, this is a nothing. Steve Jobs, they did this they started this project a couple of weeks after Jobs died, right? And so this has none of Jobs' fingerprints on it. And this is like, it's a really, really good product. It's a great product. It would be a great product in the Steve Jobs era, and it's a great product in the Tim Cook era. AirPods Pro, that is a massive, massive new platform. And people are talking about, like, it might even be like a huge sleeper platform, for audio AR in the future. I mean, AirPods now are as big as what was it? A whole bunch of tech companies combined. It's a massive, massive company on its own. And they've done a phenomenal job with the AirPods. AirPods are about as magical as any product that Apple has ever done, I think. I think that narrative, I'm not sure I believe it, because, I'm not even sure that Apple operated like that way even when Steve Jobs was around.
I believe it less now than I used to. Seeing what's going on with the Macs and how Apple really seems to be innovating in that area again. Is right. And you look at what's going on with the M1.
Tons of innovation under Tim Cook. Tons.
Yeah, so it seems like maybe in some ways it is working. So I'm more hopeful now than I used to be, especially seeing what's going on with the M1 Max. But I thought it was an interesting point. Anyway, we all knew that Tim Cook was one of the best managers out there. I didn't need Berkshire Hathaway to tell me.
I'm kind of worried about if he's going to quit. Like if he's, how long is he going to stick around?
TC? Oh, he's going to be there forever.
Less than a decade.
He's going to George Burns his way out of that company.
What did he say, Lewis?
He said he was asked, are you going to be here in 10 years? He basically said, probably not.
Yeah,
really? Did he say that, huh?
Recently. Yeah. Like in the past few months, there was an interview with him. And, he basically said, probably not. I don't really necessarily see myself here in 10 years.
Well, how old is he now? He's in his early 60s?
I think so.
Hey, Siri, how old is Tim Cook?
Tim Cook is 60 years old.
That's it? He's only 60 years old? Man, I thought he was older.
Yeah, 7 years he'll be 70. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's not too old for a CEO, is it?
Yeah. Oh, he's 60. So in 7 years, he'll be 67.
10 years. I don't know why. I didn't say 7. I think I misheard. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So let's move on. Let's talk about AirTags, because those just got released. First of all, did either of you guys buy AirTags? Do you have any AirTags in the house? I know Lewis has got one. There it is. Holding it up like that. Like Christopher
Walken
Walken held up that watch in Pulp Fiction.
It has not been. It has not been there.
You have to hide that, keep it safe. So
They don't come with a carrier, so that's.
I know, I
I
got
guess that's
four
one
pack.
option.
that
got a
is one way
four-pack, I
to
was
not
gonna-
lose it.
Set it up, and I'm like, this is, I was going to put it on my keychain, but there's no way to attach it, so it's completely useless out of the box. Useless.
Well, you can keep it in your backpack or something.
Well, what good is that? I wanted my keys. That's what gets lost most often.
Yeah, that is kind of like one of the main things you would want to track, right? But
And there's no way I can $35 for one of Apple's.
Falcon, $13.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's more like it. Well, I went on eBay, sorry, Amazon, and in fact, they just showed up. But there's some. I got some $11 ones.
Are they any good? Or are they just garbage?
I don't care.
they're great. They're great. They're
Right, it's an
super high
Apple.
quality.
It's a it's a keychain holder. How bad can it be?
I don't know. Could just break the first time you put it on. That happens a lot of times. That cheap crap.
True enough. True enough.
I'll just give a shout out to Konath in the chat who says I'm one spot away from bingo. So I got wait, did you tweet me this, dude? I got to figure out where this came from. I saw your message. He said that he put together a bingo card, a CultCast bingo card that has all the things that we normally talk about, and so he's only one spot away from bingo. Are we that redundant? Probably. Here we are thinking that we're original, but
What he's gonna send us? What are the?
I don't know. You got, dude. If you got it, you got to post it in the chat, Konath, so that we can have other people access it. And if you get bingo, you'll get nothing, but it will be fun if you get it.
That's pretty funny. We should print
gonna
out
be
a bingo
mortifying.
card for next week's episode. Astonishing.
Oh, astonishing will be checked off in the first 5 minutes. Yeah, that's an easy one. Oh, it's in the very exclusive Cult Club. Okay, that's where I saw it. Thank you. I thought maybe you tweeted it to me. Okay, so if you want it, I'll grab it and we can post it somewhere later for people to grab it. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about AirTags. So, Lewis, thoughts on AirTags since you have one now?
I get 5.
Oh, you got the 5-pack. Holy cow! Wait, you bought a 4-pack and an extra one.
Well, yeah. See, I ordered the 4-pack with the custom, engraving or whatever it is. I don't know.
What'd you get engraved?
Yeah.
I just went with the emoji ones.
A couple of cats, I'll bet, right?
I got to put a cat on one for the wife.
That's too close.
Yeah,
What'd you
I
put on your
can't-
wife's
sorry.
one?
I can't
Cat.
see.
Oh, she's a
cute.
cat too.
You see it?
I can't see anything.
Yeah.
It's too bright.
Not right. Yeah. Well, they are bright white. Got the devil horns, or the aloha, whatever.
What are you, Dio?
Yeah, my first thoughts on these things are, kind of interesting. But it's sort of like the least exciting product ever. It's like buying an insurance policy, right? Like, you're not going to know how good this is until you have a disaster. If I put one in my truck or on my motorcycle, I hope I never have to use it, right?
Yeah.
So, in that way, it's a little bit. Yeah. I don't know what to say. It's like you buy something new and then you want to use it, but it's like there's
but you're talking
no
about-
way to use it.
Glowing recommendation
there is
here.
no-
Well, put it on your. How often do you have to go? I have to go find the keys all the time because certain members of the household never put them back where they're supposed to go, ever. And I've spent hours searching for keys, hours, and then they turn up in some crazy place.
Right.
So like if I never have to do that ever again.
Yeah,
And-
I totally get it, and like I put one in my darts bag, right? I mean, because the next time I go to some big tournament and I'm walking around playing darts, I can't remember where I left the bag. I think that might be helpful. But right now, it's a little
Yeah.
thing that's sitting on my desk.
Yeah.
And
That's-
it's like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna put, like I said, I got 5, so I'm gonna give the wife a couple. I'm gonna put one in her wallet, whether she wants me to or not, because I'm so tired of her going, "Where's my wallet? Where's my wallet?" And 20 minutes searching before you can leave the house. So yeah, I mean, and I think they work okay. I mean, the one thing that was kind of weird, which is pointed out in our review of it, is the things, if they're lying flat on a surface, they don't necessarily work as awesomely as you might expect. And I put it in between the couch. It was sitting on a couch flat, didn't really pick it up. Put it in between the cushions vertically, picked it up immediately. So, and more times I've tried it, it works eventually flat. It's just, it's not as it was a little bit surprising that it was not as fast to pick it up when it was flat. I don't understand why that would be.
Does it
but-
pick it up when you move around though? Even if it's laying flat, like if you're moving around, doesn't that that changes your orientation a little bit, right? Or it's just if it's laying
yeah,
flat.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have not taped it to a cat yet or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they're cool products. I just think it's a little bit of a, it's like I said, it's like buying an insurance policy. Yeah, you got it. It's worth something. It's going to come in handy at some point. But right now,
Yeah.
You know what I realized is reading the criticisms of people about AirTags. So like the two big criticisms that came out this week, and one of these I think is like clearly just clickbait. It's the Washington Post. Creeps. Our story is creeps could use AirTags to stalk people with, quote, frightening ease. I think that was based on the Washington Post story, right? And I think this columnist, Jeremy Fowler, he was trying to find something wrong with these because he wanted to get some clicks, some delicious, delicious clicks. And then the other criticism was, and I think this is legitimate, is AirTags owners bemoan inability to let others track their items via family sharing. This is a Macrumor story here. Which, I think kind of makes sense. It's like you would think that it would be really easy to give family members access to your AirTags and let them track those AirTags. Turns out, nope. They only are trackable by one person, and you can't just give them over to another person in the app and say, "Oh, this person can track this item too." Lando, what were you gonna say?
No family sharing.
Yeah, no family sharing.
I think that is odd. I'm surprised by that. I haven't tried that yet, but
yeah, that's a little weird, right? Because you would be able to do it with if someone is sharing their location with you, you can see everything about them and where they are. So clearly some of these things exist, but you can't do it with the AirTags. And then what I realized is after reading these two criticisms is this is a classic Gen 1 Apple product. It's a Generation 1 product. There's going to be a lot of stuff that they work into AirTags in the future, and I'm sure some of it will have to do with tracking. Some of it will have to do with how you share your AirTags with other people. This is just V1. You're getting a V1 product here, and you're going to be testing it out for them. And they're going to hear your criticism and probably ignore 85% of it. And then 15% of it, they might actually integrate into a future update or something. So these are going to get a lot better as time goes on. And there were some valid criticisms that I saw, but like the tracking one, I think you could make this criticism about any tracker, right? It's just that Apple's is so good that it makes it easy to track.
Well, didn't anyone do this with a tile tracker? Didn't people do these kind of experiments with tile trackers?
Well, I was just going to say, I think the reason that you don't hear these criticisms with Tile Tracker is because so few people use tiles. And with Apple, they're ubiquitous, instantly ubiquitous. You have an AirTag and you have access to the 1 billion devices that are out there that can interact with your AirTag, so you can find it everywhere it goes. So like with a tile, you can't stalk someone because it's not technically possible.
They don't have. Well, it is. I mean, they have a very similar system, but like you said, I think the network is much smaller, isn't it? They don't. You have to have the Tile app running like in the background or in the foreground on a device, and then it picks it up. I mean, I've actually had other people's. I've had a Tile. I've lost it. I've had a Tile. Report its location using someone else's phone. Mm-hmm. So it does work. I mean, it does work pretty well. But like I said, I mean, it was interesting. This Jeffrey Fowler, the Washington Post columnist, he said that it was able to follow him in real time as he went around town. And then, like when he got home, it reported his exact home address. And this is he set up I mean, are you going to read the story or are we going to skip over it?
I was going to skip it, but we could read it.
He had someone else put their AirTag on him.
Yeah.
So he was like a dummy for this experiment, and he found that it worked with kind of like surprising ease, and I was able to track him everywhere, which I think is actually I think it's worth people knowing that. And then he it didn't beep. It resets every time it comes back into contact with the owner's iPhone. So at the minute it gets disconnected, it starts a 3-day countdown timer. Right. And and then it'll start beeping. But if it reconnects, it resets that timer. So he never got an alert that there was someone else's AirTag following him because it never got to the end of that 3-day countdown. And when it was getting close, I don't know, somehow they managed to reset it. So I don't know. I think it was worth pointing this stuff out.
It's definitely interesting and something that's good to know. And it seems like if you wanted to use these to track someone, you totally could. I was just thinking, like, if you put an AirTag, if you attach it to their car, let's say, then you would only be interacting with that AirTag while you were driving your car. And then as soon as you left your car, it would not be connected to your iPhone anymore. So would that trigger an alert on your iPhone since you're not going to be around it very often? And you're only going to be around it a few times a day. Because let's just say you were on a subway and you had someone else who was riding with you on that subway. Your phone would be in contact with their AirTag at the same intervals as they would be if you were in a car. And so if it was attached to your car, it seems like it would never notify you that you had an AirTag following you around because you could be on a subway or on a bus or something and have that same kind of interaction. So it seems like you could use these to stalk someone or at least to stalk their property. If it were around you all the time, if they put it in your backpack, that might be a different story. Because eventually you would be with that item so often that when you got home, I think it only sends you a notification when you get home, and it would notify you this AirTag has been following you around. Then you might actually get that notification. But there seems like there'd be some pretty easy ways to game it. But couldn't you do this with a tile as well? You know, at least in a limited capacity. You wouldn't get as much coverage because tiles depend on other tile users, right? Which, how many tile users are out there? I don't know. I'm going to guess not a ton. But you could still do this in some limited capacity. So it's not like the AirTag is the only device that can do something like this. But they'll get better as time goes on. Yeah. I have not picked mine up yet. I need to go get it. I've been planning on doing that, but I actually haven't made it down there yet. But I am going to get at least one so I can know how it works and play around with it. Plus, I want to see how accurate it is, because one of the other complaints that I heard is just that, is your complaint actually, Lewis, is that it actually doesn't connect reliably to the iPhone all the time, or it's not hyper accurate all the time. So it seems like the connection signal sometimes has issues. I wanted to try that part out. In any case, I still think it's a great product. It's going to get better as time goes on for sure. But, you know, it's V1 of the product. But if you are thinking about, I need a way to attach this this AirTag to my wife's car so I can track it. Or if you want to attach it to your bicycle or something, there are some ways that you can build your own DIY tracker holder that Leander, do it yourself. DIY?
Do yourself it.
Do yourself it. That you can do yourself it to track it on your bicycle. Have you never heard that, Leander? God, it's so ubiquitous. Do yourself it. So, Leander, take it away. Finally, a reason to finally get a 3D printer, I think.
Well, right. So, I was looking for, when I got them out of the box and I had nothing to attach to my keys, I was thinking, what can I use around the house? I was thinking like duct tape, or maybe I could make, use some zip ties. I couldn't think of an easy way. And as I was searching around, I came across all these 3D files for CAD files if you have a 3D printer. And there it all is. I mean, like on the Thingiverse, they have every single holder you might possibly want that you can print for free if you have a 3D printer. They had like dog collar attachments, bicycle attachments, keychain holders. They even had a holder for your Apple TV remote. Which I think is, definitely something, you should definitely be using.
They got one for AirPods. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Yeah. So there's all these, all these different holders you can get. Definitely a lot cheaper than spending $450 on a Hermes luggage tag. And, they're not all really completely ugly. Some of them look pretty good.
Jeez.
That's the problem with 3D printed stuff, isn't it? Often it's like, it's not the most aesthetic.
But first time I ever wanted one.
A 3D printer?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I've never wanted a 3D printer until now. You can make some really cool ones too, and then sell them on Etsy or something. You could start your own business selling these if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, I bought 3D printed stuff off of Amazon. That I didn't realize was 3D printed.
Until you got it, and you're like, "Wow, this really sucks."
Oh wow, yeah. Someone just charged me $30 for this.
For this cheap piece of plastic that wasn't even sanded afterwards.
How much does the goo cost? Like how much material cost would you have in a one of these one of these holders that we saw?
Next to nothing.
It's basically like a plastic. It's like plastic spool, like a spool of plastic thread. So it's not that expensive.
They're not very expensive.
Yeah.
How much are they?
Okay.
It depends on the spool. I don't know. $50, $100 for a quantity. Every quantity costs between $30 and $100, I think. For a specified quantity. So yeah, it's just plastic wire. How much could that possibly cost? So it's pretty cool, man. And this is something that we're definitely missing for the ecosystem of AirTags. And as companies come up with more and more creative ways to use AirTags, then they're going to make AirTags much more useful. I really like this simple one that we're looking at right here. It's like a little ring that goes around your AirTag, and then it looks like a teardrop, and at the point of the teardrop is a hole, so you can attach this to your keychain or something, Like, there's the missing link. It's actually kind of funny that Apple is including their own accessories for AirTags because the third-party market is going to be so massive for these. These things are going to be dirt cheap. They're so simple to make that is anyone going to buy Apples? I mean, maybe. I guess maybe some people will.
It's exactly the same as iPhone
Apple
cases,
Watch?
right?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean,
but
of course
Apple's
they'll
will be
make it,
super
and
high
Of
quality.
course, some people will buy it.
I do have to
it'll-
say
it'll probably match your iPhone case, and
perfectly.
yeah.
I will say though, I bought some aftermarket Apple Watch straps on eBay. I did a video on this on my YouTube channel, and they were like $4 each, and they're great, super high quality. I've had almost no troubles with any of them. But the official Apple band, it is nicer. It is definitely nicer. Is it $45 nicer? I don't know about that, but the thread in the Apple Watch version or in the Apple version is nicer. It feels better on your wrist. And it also, the one that I have is the Nike version, and so it has like these reflective threads in here that kind of glow when they get hit with light. So there's things about it that they're just more refined than the cheap Chinese knockoffs that you get on eBay. But the Chinese knockoffs are $3 to $4 each, so you can get virtually any color you want. I've got like 10 different bands. They were so cheap, and they're comfortable, and they're like 85 or 90% as good as the $45 version is. So,
And no rash, no painful rash.
well, I mean, and maybe every once in a while you get a little rash, but it goes away as long as you put baby powder on it for 2 weeks and take your antibiotics.
Right.
And how do the lugs fit in
they-
there? Are they nice and tight, those lugs?
Yeah, they were great. I mean, it's not quite as buttery smooth as the Apple lugs, but they work almost as well. Dude, I'll tell you what, the Frodo Baggins Milanese Loop Mithril edition that I bought on Amazon, I think I paid $7 for that Milanese loop, and that's one of the best straps I've ever purchased. It's so comfortable. It never gets loose, and it's steel, so you can bang it up against stuff and it doesn't get damaged. It dries really fast. That's one of the best $7 I've ever spent.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the Apple version is what, 130 or 150 or something,
Whoa.
and
ouch.
for $7 you can get like a stainless steel one. So I mean, it doesn't look as nice, but it's pretty close. In fact, if I showed it to you and I didn't tell you it wasn't Apple's, I
Yeah,
doubt
you
you would be able
probably
to
wouldn't
know. Yeah. So it's still pretty close. Okay, let me see here. I think we're going to wrap up with a quick update on Epic Games versus Apple. But before we do that, Lewis, it just occurred to me, do you want to do a quick promo? Do we have a giveaway going on this week?
Oh man, what a surprise! I'm so glad you thought of that.
I
because
always think about it. I'm the only one that
completely
does.
forgot. Oh my heavens! Hold
Oh
on
my
just
stars
a
and-
moment.
Well, I had to rewrite the post, so
Shocking.
it's a giveaway for.
I'm
And
trying
I
to pull it
completely
up.
forgot myself.
Park Slope stand
Slope,
by
12
12
South, yeah.
South.
You guys are terrible. How
Go
do
to
I
it, Leander.
how do I freaking Oh, there we go.
Away.
Giveaway. How do I spell this? I'm trying to pull it up so we can show it to the good people who are watching here live, and I'll give them a link in the
We should also say that we've got a great Mother's Day sale going on at the store right now. Mother's Day coming up on Sunday.
at store.cultamac.com.
A whole bunch of stuff on sale, up to 72% off on some things, which is really nice.
So that's less expensive than the Apple stuff, but better quality than the garbage.
Right.
Fair point, yes. So here you go. Enter to win a 12 South Park Slope stand for Mac and iPad giveaway. And I'll put a link to this in the show notes if you're listening, so you can go in there and dude, I think your odds of winning it are pretty good. You should definitely go and register. Go in there and register. People never register to win anything, so you should go in there and see if you can win yourself this very beautiful stand. And then I'll just say real quick, store.cultamac.com. Look at this Mother's Day sale where you can get a very big discount on all sorts of great products. Oh, look at this. This Elago Apple Pencil, second generation cover, makes it look like an actual pencil.
A giant pencil.
How cute. You got some Apple Watch bumper cases, all sorts of great stuff in here that you'll actually enjoy using. Not some cheap Chinese knockoff garbage, but high quality stuff that will perform and look beautiful in all your different Apple gadgets and gizmos. You're going to feel so good having one of these straps. Oh, look at that. It's an Elago MS charging pad for MagSafe. Oh, that would be useful. Holds down your Apple Watch charger so that you can just slap your watch right on there. I think I need one of those. I'm going to buy one right now. Let me get out my credit card.
Get
Oh,
in
I
there.
can't. I can't. We're doing the show. It'll have to wait. I'm going to do it after the show. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, store.cultamac.com. Giveaway details are in the chat. Also, going into the show notes, go register to win a beautiful 12 South Park Slope stand. Okay. Let's wrap up with Epic versus Apple. Have you guys been following any of this stuff? Any of the testimony or anything? Lewis, I know you've been reading into it, haven't you?
Yeah, a little bit. It's interesting. I mean, I like reading these emails that are coming out in the open. That stuff is pretty fascinating.
Dude, it's so interesting because we're getting to read all these internal communications, and the executives from Apple are testifying. Tim Cook testified, I believe. And didn't they have oh gosh, I'm spacing on the guy's name. I'm so embarrassed.
Schiller was testifying.
Phil
think.
Schiller
I
testified?
I don't think Tim Cook has testified.
Okay, I thought he was one of the guys.
I think he
that was
might
in there.
be on the docket, but I don't think he has.
He
I
has,
could be
yeah.
wrong about that.
Okay. Well, there's been all sorts of great testimony that has come out between Epic and Apple, and then Microsoft got pulled in to testify about how commissions work on Xbox. It seems like Epic's going to lose, I'll be honest. But there was one thing that the Tim Cook, that Tim Sweeney, who's the CEO of Epic Games, mentioned in the testimony that I thought actually made a lot of sense. And I have to say I actually totally agree with him. So let's see here. Epic made a suggestion to Apple about how they could update the store in order to make it more fair. And this comment that Tim Sweeney made to CEO Tim Cook I thought was bold and hilarious and actually very honest. So in an email that he sent to Tim Cook, he said that it doesn't seem tenable for Apple to be the sole arbiter of expression and commerce over a platform approaching 1 billion users. That perfectly surmises what I've been saying for a year and a half. Apps are the new way that people access the internet. The internet should be a free and open place, and yet Apple is able to control the new internet, apps, at its sole discretion and control who gets to be on the internet and who doesn't. I think that's too much power, personally. What should we do about it? Well, I think that again, the suggestion here from Tim Sweeney from Epic is actually the right way to do it. Apple wants to have its cake and eat it too. They want to have an app store where they control everything and make all the revenue. And I think that's fair. It's their own app store, right? They get to control that however they want. But they will not allow other app stores. And I think that is where the cake having and cake eating comes into play. Is if you want to have your own app store, fine. You want to control it, fine. But you also will not allow anyone else to have an app store besides you. Now, you can make this argument and say, well, that's how Xbox works and that's how PlayStation works. That's true. But games are commodities. You can go to other platforms. You can go to PC. And a phone is a much more important device. It is where people go to access the internet at large, not just play a game. So I think a phone and a Xbox or a phone and a PlayStation are kind of apples and oranges. And Tim Cook's, or there's too many Tims in this conversation. Tim Sweeney's suggestion was this, and I honestly I think this is the way to go. He says Apple should switch to checking iPhone software for API compatibility, safety, data, privacy, and fair disclosure practices, and then digitally sign it. And then at that point, it would be up to the app creator to decide how they want to distribute their app. They could either, well, I'll just read the quote. Compliance review would keep iOS free of malware, while open distribution would combine the best aspects of App Store with the best aspects of open platforms. So essentially, he's saying that Apple should do with the iOS store, the iOS App Store, as they do with the Mac App Store. With the Mac App Store, you can buy your apps on the App Store, or you can do what a lot of developers do is they just distribute it in another way. They distribute it on their website or, however else they want to distribute it. But when you install it, the application is signed. Now, why couldn't Apple do that? I wonder. I think it might now. I don't want you to call me a pessimist. I think it might have something to do with the sweet bags of money that Apple and Tim Cook are collecting each and every day from.
Well, this is what the whole court case is about, isn't it? I mean, what Epic actually wants is to have its own game store on iOS where it can charge, other game developers a 30% commission, for being run in the Epic Game Store.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the whole thing is about. I mean, that's essentially what they want, isn't it? They want to have their own game store, which runs just like the Apple Store, where they can distribute other people's, their own plus other people's games. Which, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to be, they're definitely, they're. In some ways, that would be great. I'd love to see a Steam store, wouldn't you? I would mind seeing an Xbox store, I would mind seeing a PlayStation store, or whatever, like having, in some ways, that's great. But he's also like asking Apple to do a big code review of all these applications that are going to be sold through other people's stores. So, when Tim Cook sees this, I'm sure he's thinking, oh, you want me to check it for malware, but then you're going to be selling this application on some other person's store and they get the 30% commission?
But that's how Mac apps work now. They pay Apple to sign their apps or they pay a fee for those apps to be signed. I'm not a developer in those regards, so I don't understand exactly how the process works, but it's just like when you create an app for Windows, you pay Microsoft to, I guess, certify your signature or something so that that the software is coming from a legitimate place and it's safe to install. And you can do the same thing in the Apple ecosystem, but the fee is a lot less. So you're going to be paying Apple a fee versus giving Apple a cut, which is clearly not what Apple wants to do. But I don't see why the App Store, aside from profit, would not operate that way. If you want to pay Apple to sign your app and then distribute it in a completely different way, then why shouldn't they let you do that? And one of the examples that was given was with Netflix, who was trying to decide whether or not they should still allow people to sign up for Netflix via their app on the App Store. And Apple tried to persuade them not to remove the subscribe functionality from the Netflix app because they get a 30% cut of that when you subscribe via Netflix on the App Store versus doing it via Netflix's own website. And Netflix eventually decided that they just were not going to allow you to subscribe via the Netflix app. You have to subscribe on Netflix.com, and then you can use the app. And so now Apple makes no money from Netflix at all. And they allowed Netflix to do that. So this would kind of be similar.
And they wanted to punish them too, right? Which is not a good look for Apple. In one of those emails, it said they're going to have to do some punitive stuff.
Well, they were. We don't want to get sued. It appeared as though they were discussing whether or not there should be some kind of punishment involved. But it doesn't know. I don't know if they were actually ever seriously considering it. Anyway, I think Tim Sweeney makes a really excellent point, and I'll read it again. And this is always the point that I come back to. It doesn't seem tenable for Apple to be the sole arbiter of expression and commerce over an app platform approaching 1 billion users. That's it right there. Apple owns the entire app platform, and they only let you distribute apps via that app platform. And that seems like too much power for one company, in my humble opinion. Well,
the other, you can get web apps. I mean, there's that was the original idea too, wasn't it? It's going to run web apps, run apps in the browser. I mean, it's not completely, the browsers is the big hole in that argument, isn't it? Don't you think? I mean, the browser is the alternative to that. It's completely open, and anyone can, you can run more or less what you want without getting Apple's permission through the browser.
Yeah, but I think that's a bogus argument because that's apples and oranges. You don't get nearly the same polished experience via a web app, aka a website, that you do via an app. People don't want to operate on a website. They want to use an app, and the app ties into the native APIs. They're smoother, they're sleeker. You have access to notifications, which you couldn't have. I mean, how is Twitter going to operate on a web app only? It's impossible. There's no way that they could, you know?
Yeah, but you know, there are apps that can do, and like you know, that's a good point. You don't get access to Bluetooth, you don't get access to all the hardware, but
yeah, well, Gav Miller is saying Craig Federighi's shampoo cost doesn't come cheap. You don't even want to know what he spends on Moose. So they definitely need to have revenue coming in. And let's see here, Tactical Mainframe from the comments was saying, I'm trying to find your comment, dude. I might have to paraphrase it. But basically, he doesn't want to have an experience that might be unsafe, where you just buy apps and you're not sure if they're actually going to work the way you expect them to. I'm sorry if I paraphrased that incorrectly, and I totally get that argument. But that's why I think that an Apple App Store ecosystem could coexist with a digitally signed app. I honestly think that this suggestion from Tim Sweeney is a great suggestion. It seems like the way to go. Pay Apple to digitally sign your app, which means they review the code, they make sure that your API usage is all tightened up, buttoned up, and then you get to release it however you want and allow people to create apps for iPhone and iPad and distribute them outside of the App Store. Honestly, I think that's the way to go. Is Apple going to do that? I think eventually they're going to have to. I really do. I don't think they're going to be able to maintain the same level of control they've had over the App Store now that it is so big and they have control over 1 billion different users. Seems like too much power.
Well, the funny
for one
thing
company.
is, even with Apple's tight control, I mean, you've been following, there's an account that that follows all these fraudulent apps, and they point out every week all these different scam apps. I mean, there's a ton of scam apps you can get on the iOS that do all kinds of shady stuff, and there's a lot of them, and they keep popping up, and Apple seems to be completely powerless to do anything about them, or maybe that. The cynical thing to say would be that they don't want to clamp down on them because it's a source of revenue. But I don't think that's true. I think I just don't think that they're able. Like you said, I mean, there's more than how many apps are there in the App Store? There's more than 1 million now. Isn't
I
there?
have no idea. Yeah, it's probably tons.
And I think a lot of what
probably tons.
There's my contribution to your comment. It's probably tons. That's the hard hitting analytical analysis people come here for. It's probably tons. And it's whack-a-mole. You're looking at someone else's code. You're looking through to see if something looks like it's malicious, which I don't know about if you guys have ever tried to read someone else's code. It can be a complete nightmare when you're looking, unless they've commented their code and say exactly what is happening and why. And maybe Apple requires that. I don't know. I've never written for iOS. But when you're looking through someone else's code, you can write code a zillion different ways. So you would have a really tough time. Even a really experienced developer would have a tough time looking through someone else's code and determining how that code is going to function.
It's what it's doing. I mean, a lot of these scam apps, I mean, it's the functionality of the app. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
The whole purpose.
Yeah.
And if you need any more evidence that Apple is being unfair to developers, I will refer you to Gav Miller's comment here in the chats. He says, I still haven't gotten over the purge they did on fart apps. Where are the fart apps, Tim Cook? Why is it at Tim Cook's sole discretion to decide how many fart apps there need to be in the app store?
Yeah, well, I'm more upset about vape apps.
Do they vaporize the vape apps?
Yeah.
Did they all gone? I remember you
no
mentioned this
vape
before, didn't you? See, that's kind of my point. Is you have this app that comes out for a product, and Apple at its sole discretion gets to decide whether that category of product gets to have an app. I'm making a face for those of you listening, and it's a dubious face. Seems like a little bit too much power for TC and Co. Anyway, I don't want to go on about this for too long. I don't want to get up on my soapbox, but this trial has been really interesting, and it's not over yet. And we might see some more tidbits like this trickle out in the near future because Epic is really going for it. There's been some insults slung each way. This has been a delicious trial so far. I think Epic's going to lose. In the end, I think they're going to lose. But
was this Steve Jobs' email came out as well about Facebook, or was that from a different?
When he called it Feces Book.
Feces Book, which made me laugh out loud. The perfect name.
That was a very apropos name, wasn't it? I don't know if that was from the trial or what it was from, but it's been crazy seeing the level of access you get inside of Apple. This is one of the reasons why companies fear discovery so much inside of lawsuits
Right.
and fight and will just try to settle before it gets to discovery, because you go to discovery and now all of a sudden you're getting to read their executives' emails from 10 years ago, and you get to go through all of their personal emails about different topics. It's a dangerous situation.
Right.
If you're not
A lot of
buttoned
dirty
up,
laundry comes out. Yeah.
yeah, all that delicious dirty laundry comes out, and then you find out that Steve Jobs is calling you.
And it's
Judy-
funny that
Judy
the
Book.
guy in charge at the moment right now is Phil Schiller, who's officially been kicked upstairs to be sort of semi-retired Apple fellow.
Huh?
But he's the lead guy, isn't he, on this case?
Oh, is he really?
I think so. Yeah, he's down there in court every day.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard a peep from Phil. Not that I've seen.
I don't know if he's been called. I mean, he's the guy. He's sitting there in court, as far as I know. Like making sure that
Oh yeah.
it all goes down.
Well, he was probably intimately involved in a lot
Yeah.
of this stuff,
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure. This was his baby, wasn't it, for a long time?
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, we've been going for like 6.5 hours here, so I think it's
It
time to
only
wrap.
feels like
It only feels like 8.
12.
I know you guys are dying to go get your lunch, so I think we should go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But if you want even more CultCast action, we're on Twitter. I'm at Airfon, ERFON. Leander is at LKD. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. I'm in the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank everyone for watching. And we'll see you guys next time. That felt kind of abrupt. Was that abrupt?
Not abrupt enough.
So I just said, okay, we're stopping now. Bye. Turn the music
Yeah.
on, and then we can just stop talking.
See you later.
No end discussion, no chat. Later, Guillermo. Later, Tiak. Later, Torquil. Ooh, I have to get my hands on a bottle of Torquil. Matt7895. Oh, you want a pic of the rabbit, huh? Oh, you guys should see my beautiful rabbits. Later to Ulysses.
I was getting distracted because my house kept shaking.
Why's that?
People doing construction next door.
Oh yeah,
Whole house. Whole
jackhammer.
house.
Did you get that sorted out? What are they doing?
I don't know what they're doing over there. They ripped the whole back off the house yesterday.
I know, but what about your
Ta
your plumbing?
ta.
They said they're fixing it. They said they're going to reconnect it.
All right, so problem solved.
Cool.
Well, if they ever do.
What's taking this
Konath
time?
got bingo. Bingo. He's probably waiting
got
for.
it?
He's waiting for Lewis to talk about some shirtless guy jackhammering, and finally it came. He got it. We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming.
Really? Was that on his bingo card? No way.